going on, my dudes, and welcome to the channel. If you're new here, how you doing? Glad you're here. Today in this video, as you can tell by the title, we're going to be talking about how to kind of reduce weight on your bike and become a certified weight weenie. And if you really want to become a certified weight weenie, check out my clothing company, lymbmx.com. We just released one of these new shirts. It's amazing. It'll help you save weight, kind of. Not really, but it's a great shirt. Anyways, we're gonna be talking about how I personally save weight on my bike, and I just want to note and make things clear ahead of time. We're not just gonna be blanket statements saying get titanium bars, titanium forks, and titanium frame cranks and all that, because obviously that's a great way to save weight on your bike. However, it's super expensive, and me personally, I'm a little skeptical when it comes to titanium parts like that. Like titanium spokes and spindles are good, but as far as bars, forks, and frames, never ridden one, just you know? The other thing I want to mention is when it comes to saving weight on your bike, for me personally, I do it incrementally. And what I mean is I kind of save weight per part in minor spots, and then over time, as you complete your build, then you'll have saved a lot of weight. So for instance, what I mean is, like, I don't go out and get the super lightest bars possible and expect that to save a ton of weight, or like get the lightest frame possible and expect that to be the one thing that saves a lot of weight for me. Like when I'm replacing a part or looking at getting a new part, I'll try to shave a few ounces here and there, and then as I get more stuff, all those little increments of saved ounces builds up to a whole pound or a pound and a half and things like that, and then all of a sudden your bike is significantly lighter. So with that being said, we're going to start with the front end of the bike where I like to shave weight, and then we're going to work our way back and kind of show the areas where I save weight. So, that being said, let's start talking about the front of the bike. All right, let's talk about the front end of your bike and shaving weight. So obviously, the main components in the front end are going to be your bars, your stem, your forks, and your front wheels. Bye, have a wonderful day, Big Cheese. Ta-ta. Anyways, so you got your bars, your stem, your forks, and your wheels. We're gonna skip over the brake stuff because most of you are running brakeless and aren't really gonna care. So for me, you can't really shave a ton of weight when it comes to just running normal bars and forks. Where you can really shave a lot of weight is in the wheel, and also you can shave a little bit here and there. So for the bars, for me right now, I'm running the Snafu Noah bars. These are Logan Martin's signature bars. They're two-piece bars. Two-piece bars are typically going to be lighter than a four-piece bar just because there's less tubing, less welds, and all that kind of stuff. So going for like a nice two-piece bar is going to be your best bet. And then moving on down to the stem, for me, the way I shave weight when it comes to my stem is I get titanium bolts. These are titanium bolts from Armor Bikes. They're really good. They've been lasting me a long time. I do want to note one disclaimer though. I'm running a top load stem, so the cap is at the top of the stem. I would never run titanium bolts on a front load stem where the cap is on the front. The reason being is all that pressure would be going down directly on the bolts, whereas with the top load stem, it's going to be all concentrated on the bottom of the stem, pushing down, so you really don't have to worry about all that pressure on the bolts in that space, which could possibly snap. So top load stem with some titanium bolts is going to save you a good amount of weight. Then in your headset, these headset spacers, they're pretty cheap to find. You can get little carbon spacers that'll last you a while for like 15 bucks. And that'll shave you a few ounces. And then in the forks, these are R25, Odyssey R25 forks. They're light but strong, built by Odyssey, lifetime warranty and all that kind of stuff. Great forks for shaving a bit of weight. But the way I really shave weight in the front end would be with the front wheel. And this comes down to a few things. First, we'll talk about the tire. So there are two different types of tire. There's a normal wired tire, and then there's a foldable tire. Foldable tires are significantly lighter than a normal wire beaded tire. This is because instead of like a steel bead that goes around the tire, it's Kevlar, which is significantly lighter, aka why it's called a folding tire, because you're able to fold it. Those are super light. These are the Maxxis Grifter tires. They're super light. You could get a little bit lighter with the Odyssey K-Lite Pro tires, which I rode before, but I have found that the Maxxis Grifters last a lot longer and work for a variety of different settings. So they're great for skate parks, they're good for street, but also really good for dirt. So it's an overall good universal tire. So getting a folding tire over a steel bead tire is going to save a significant amount of weight, especially when it comes to rotational weight, which we'll discuss here in a moment. Bear with me. Second, inside the tire, you can get these new like TPU tubes like Tubolito. Those really paved the way for creating like a lot of weight savings, because I think they're like a fourth the weight of a normal tube, maybe even more. And again, that's going to significantly reduce the rotational weight and also the responsiveness of your bike. So I was riding the Ride Now tubes, which are a fraction of the price of Tubolito tubes, and in my opinion are much better. I recently popped them because I ran over some thorns, but when I was riding them, when I was doing bar spins and stuff, they were snappier and my front end felt way more responsive. So not only do you save a lot of weight, but you get a little bit more responsive in the front end, which some of you might like, some of you might not. Personal preference. Next would be the front rim. This is the Alienation Malice rim. BMX specific front rims will save a lot of weight compared to like running a normal rim in the front. It's a good way to save a lot of weight. And then again, we got the tie spokes and tie bolts. More titanium, the better. So what I did mention was the rotational weight. This is where weight saving really comes into play, especially for the front wheel, because as your wheel rotates, that inertia, you can feel it and will create more weight. So the more weight that you shave off your wheel when it's spinning, it's gonna feel a lot lighter in the air. So that's where you really feel it, not more of just like, oh, you pick it up compared to another one. Like you will, but when it's spinning and you're in the air, that's when you're significantly gonna feel the difference. So that's the front end for you. All right. We got the front end covered. Now you know where to shave some weight there. Now we're gonna move to the frame. Obviously, you can save a good amount of weight by looking at the frame's weight. It's pretty basic. The only thing I would keep in mind is the style of riding that you do. So for instance, this is a Total BMX Americano frame. It's like right in the middle. Like it's not super light, it's not super heavy. Back in the day, like in like the 2013 era-ish is when like the Premium Gutter Shark and the Eastern Grim Reaper came out, and those were like super lightweight frames. However, when you have frames like that, they tend to snap. So depending on your riding style with frames, when you're shaving weight, you're definitely kind of trading off strength for weight saving. So if you're like a heavy street rider and stuff like that, probably would keep kind of like a bit of heavier frame, because you just know it's gonna have things like top and bottom gussets, more welds, as well as different tubing styles. But if you're more of a park rider, then you can shave a good amount of weight by going to like a more park oriented frame. Like I know Hyper makes some pretty light frames, as well as Eastern, as well as Total. So don't really need to go too much in the weeds of that. Again, you're gonna really be trading off strength for weight saving, so it's kind of a balancing act in that area. Next, we're gonna go to the middle section of the bike. This is where you can save a good amount of weight in one key area. That will be the chain. So for me, I run a Shadow Conspiracy half-link chain. I've ridden like super light chains before. Like the last chain I rode before this one was like a Croupy half-link chain with hollow pins and hollow links, but I broke that pretty quickly, and it was significantly lighter. Like I definitely felt the difference. However, just knowing that my chain's not gonna snap by riding like a Shadow one outweighs the weight saving ability. But if you go into like a normal chain, like an Odyssey keychain compared to like a Shadow half link, you can actually shave a good amount of weight by the chain that you choose. Next up would be pedals. Pedals, you can ton of weight. Not a ton, but a good amount. So these are the Alienation Foothold pedals. They're aluminum spindles with sealed bearings with a plastic body and metal pins. So they're super grippy and super lightweight. The only thing is, again, the strength. So like for these, I probably go through these pedals every 6 months. Like I'll crack one. Not the end of the world, but that's also just because I ride pretty hard and my bike falls from high places a lot, so it's just gonna happen. Next up would be your cranks. So these are profile cranks. A good way to save weight with cranks is getting a 3-piece crank compared to a 2-piece. And when I say a 3-piece crank, it means you have 2 crank arms in a spindle, where a 2-piece has 1 crank arm and then another crank arm that has the spindle attached to it. The reason I suggest the 3-piece crank is it's easy to replace the spindle with like a titanium one. And it's really good to save weight in this section of the bike, especially if you do a lot of tail whips, because it's easier to whip around because it has like that lighter area in the middle, like kind of, it's an even distribution of weight, so it's easier to kick them around compared to having kind of like a more heavier parts in this area. Another way to save some weight is doing a spline drive sprocket, and the reason that will save you weight is you don't need to have the bolt in your crank. So these are the profile cranks with no boss, so that means it doesn't have like the little nub where a bolt would go through the sprocket. So yeah, decent area to save some weight. And then finally would be your seat. Good way is pivotal seat or a one-piece seat, you can save a good amount of weight. Also, you can get a titanium bolt for the seat, which can save actually a decent amount of weight. I should upgrade to that sometime, but right now, not gonna. So that's kind of the middle section, and then we'll move on to the back section, which is basically gonna be the same as the front end. Again, you wanna do the folding tires. Again, this is a Maxxis Grifter. And then for the wheel, this is a Profile Elite with tie bolts and tie driver. The tie driver actually saves a good amount of weight because that is a big hunk of metal, and having that piece of metal being all titanium compared to steel saves quite a few ounces. And then again, the titanium spokes and then the Ride Now tubes, which again are those two TPU tubes, is a good area to save weight, especially when it comes to the rotational weight of the bike. So overall, like I said before, when you're trying to save weight on a BMX bike, do it in increments. Don't go ham on one piece. So for me, just getting like quality parts, paying attention to the weights listed, and really understanding that a few ounces here and a few ounces there is actually gonna go a long way to saving a lot of weight on your bike. I hope this video was informative. Drop a comment down below if this was helpful. Again, for me, my bike is like right where I want it to be. It's right around that 20 pounds area. I don't need like a 16-pound bike. I think that's a little bit too light, but that's just my personal opinion. So let me know what you guys think, how light your bike is. I hope this helped. I hope this was informative. We're gonna ride around. We're at Pflugerville Skate Park, gonna get a couple clips and just have some fun in this Texas sun and have a great day. So I love you all. Take care, and let's go get some clips. All right, to get the blood flowing, we're gonna mess around on this little step-up hip thing. I'm a big fan of this little flyo. It's a little tight. I wish it kind of went wider, but regardless, it's still fun. So we're gonna throw on the GoPro, get a couple clips on it. We're gonna raw dog double bar it. I haven't jumped anything. I would love, again, if you've been watching this channel, you know I've been on the journey of perfecting the double bar. So we're gonna go for a double bar on this hip. And then there's a trick that I haven't done in a long time, especially I've never done it on something like this that I'd like to try. So we're gonna give that a rip. But first, let's get this double bar done, and then we'll keep stunting and save weight on our bike. So here we go, boys. All right, double bar felt good. Go for the trick I came here wanting to try. That's the Superman seat Indian Air. Super seat Indian Air grab? I don't know. I'll show you what it looks like in a second. When you jump, you pull your bike off to the side like this, and then kind of scissor kick your legs. And you get your back leg that goes this way, and then front leg that goes that way. Holding it like that. Looks pretty sweet. Thought this would be a decent place to try it. I haven't done one in ages, and I never did one that was good. So I think today I could do one that's spectacular. So we're gonna give it a rip. I'm not really gonna think about it, just gonna go for it. So my bike is decently light. So what could go wrong? So let's give it a rip, boys. Oh God, okay, not bad. Not the worst. Felt insane, but I think if I went straighter and then turned, we could do it. No way. How the hell? I don't know how good that was, but I rolled away from it somehow. All right, absolutely flabbergasted that I landed that one. Gonna get another angle and do another one, I think. Because I don't think it was that great, but decently good. So let's find another angle and get this thing Super Seat Indianed. So stoked, honestly, boys. Pretty happy on that one. This is definitely a weird trick to find the angles for, because it's like here, but facing this way. I don't know. It's kind of a learning curve to film this one, but as long as I land it, that's all I really care about, honestly. Hell yeah. I'm gonna move on over to this Red Bull, which looks amazing in video, but is actually such trash. The reason being, the transitions are super inconsistent, the lines are lacking, but there's still some fun things to find here and there, so we'll find those fun things. Holy, that quarter kicks. Damn boys, that quarter is a lot steeper and kickier than I thought. But I do not care, we landed it. That is all that matters. You guys came for tips on how to make your bike slider, not dialed flare, so I don't care. All right, because the lighting's really good over here, we're gonna try to do like a tweaked out in jam where I like catch the frame with my foot instead of keeping my foot on the pedal. So, been wanting to do these, but always chicken. Lighting looks so good, might as well give it a rip. Oh, that last one is what we were looking for, boys. It's kind of hard to get like the front foot off the pedal, but I'm kind of figuring out you kind of just have to like whip yourself into it. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I wanted. Yes, dude. Hell yeah. Stoked on that kickdown inside foot jam. I would love to get that on bigger quarters, but for now, we'll take it. Last time I was here, I was trying inside foot jam to bar on this quarter and it took me ages to do it. So we're gonna knock it out first try. Bonus. God damn it. Oh, I got greedy with the bonus. But stoked in the in jam to bar. All right, because my OCD is insane, we gotta now do the inside foot jam to bar and then the pressure bar to fakie. And then we can move on to the last stunt of the evening. Yes, worth it? Not really, but at least I get that clarity now. All right, for my last stunt of this video, thank you for watching if you're here, by the way. I really appreciate it, and I hope you guys are enjoying this video. We're gonna be going over to one of the vert walls, and I would like to do a bar spin to hand plant. Done this trick before, but every now and then, like I do it, then I don't do it for a while, but this is one that I'd like to dial in, so we're gonna give it a rip. So, bar spin hand plant coming up. Love-hate relationship with this trick, because it's tough until I land it, if that makes sense. First try. Okay, not bad, not bad. We can get that pretty quick, I think. It's all about just not being a big baby. Okay. Not bad, not too bad. This is something that always happens with me with this trick, is I'll be getting it, and then just my front foot just comes off every single go. And I would land it if I kept it on. So maybe that's just the key, keep the front foot on. There we go. Turns out all you gotta do is keep the foot on. Absolutely stoked to land that. That was probably one of my cleanest ones I've done in a long time. And to celebrate, we're gonna do a cleaner flare to end the video on, I guess, that quarter right there. So let's do that. Then we'll do the outro, and then that'll be it for this video. So here we go. All right, to celebrate, let's do a nice flare on the quarter. All right, my friends, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you took something away from this and that you found it somewhat helpful, especially when it comes to shaving weight on your bike. Again, it's not at all about like shaving a ton of weight with one part. You want to kind of do it throughout your bike. You want to do it nice and spread out through your bike, like shave a little here, shave a little there, and then all of a sudden you got like 2 pounds shaved off your bike. So again, hope you guys enjoyed. If you're new to the channel, I'm so glad you were able to join. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're interested, you can get one of my new LYN BMX shirts. Again, this is my clothing company. This is the new Weight Weenie shirt. This is a limited run, so supplies will run out. You can get them, they're linked down below, so hope you like it. And yeah, don't forget to drop a like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at @TheRealJRHobbs. And if you have any other video ideas, drop them in the comment section down below. Love to hear it. And if you want to help support the channel another way, we have a membership thing, so you can get exclusive perks and access to videos early. So huge shout out to our current members, Adam Ortiz and Violent Sun. I love you guys. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see y'all next time. Have a great day, and ta-ta.